Hello! In the previous video, I taught you what pencil marks are, and in this video, we're going to see for the first time what those marks that we make in our Sudokus are used for. So we have a Sudoku like this. The first thing you would do would be precisely the pencil marks. I'm going to do them with my Simple Sudoku program, and here they are. Now, what is the first thing we can do with pencil marks? The first thing we can do is find something called naked singles. That is, we're going to look through the whole Sudoku for cells where there is only one number. And I know that you have already seen several like this one, this one, this one, and so on. If you do it by hand, obviously you have to be careful to have filled the Sudoku and the pencil marks correctly. If a program does it, then we can be sure that they are done correctly. And simply, when we see these situations, we can place that number that is there with certainty, with no problem at all. Why is that? Let's realize that, for example, in this box, let's focus on the box in the middle, the 1 can be in the 4 cells that are empty. The 3 can only be in this cell here. The 8 can only be in this cell here. And the 9 can be in these 2 cells. So when we finish the pencil marks, we realize that the 1, although it can be in the 4 cells, there is only one cell that cannot contain either the 3 or the 8 or the 9, which are the only 3 missing numbers, and is the cell on top. That means that if the 3 can't be here, because of this 3 here, and if the 8 can't be in this cell, because of this 8 here, and if the 9 can't be there because of this 9, then only the number 1 can be there, even though it can also be in the other 3. But since none of the other 3 candidates can be here, that is the only candidate. That is why this technique is called naked singles. It is the only candidate that can occupy that place. So we can place the 1 with no problem at all. And from here, you will realize that with that analysis, you can place all the naked singles you find. The 9, the 8, the 1, and all the ones you find along the way. Obviously, if you do it by hand, when you place a number, for example, here I'm going to place the 6, you have to erase this 6 from here because a 6 can no longer go there, right? So you would have to place the 6, erase the 6 pencil marks that are in this row, in this column, and in this box, and keep going. And so then, by following the naked singles, which is a basic technique for solving Sudokus, you are going to finish your first Sudokus with no problem at all. Again, by hand, it's going to be a little problematic to erase so much. That is another reason why it is better to use a program for this, but it can be done anyway. And here, you realize how then, only with naked singles, we finish a very simple Sudoku. Let's look at a slightly more difficult Sudoku. But before that, I want to remind you that you can now get my digital book Master Sudoku Basic Level. In it, you're going to find all the basic techniques explained in detail, but also, for each one of the techniques, you're going to find 5 Sudokus that can only be solved with the technique that I'm explaining in that chapter. So I am going to make sure that you are absolutely going to be able to practice the techniques that I'm teaching you. It also comes with other Sudokus, so you can play and be sure that you are going to be able to solve them by using a combination of all the basic techniques that you are going to learn in the book. So get it, the link is in the card that is showing up right now, in the video description, and also in the pinned comment. And now, this Sudoku here, then, is a little more complicated, but it also has some naked singles. So let's start with this one here, which gives us this 2, this 6, and this 8. And here we're going to be filling some cells. For example, we already have those 2 boxes, and we are going to continue. And here we finish with all the naked singles that this part of the Sudoku has. What would come next would be to find another technique that helps us complete this Sudoku. And that technique is going to be precisely the one we learned in the first video. In that technique, we saw that we had to see in each row, each column, and in each box that the numbers from 1 to 9 did not repeat, and for that we did a scan. We were looking in each box at the numbers that were missing and seeing whether they could be placed or not. For example, for this box here, where the cursor is passing, let's see, the number 1 can be in these 4, right? Thanks to this one here, and thanks to this one here. It leaves us these 4. And when we analyze the 2, it gives us precisely this whole row, the 3 gives us this whole row, but there is one number in particular that I want you to see, and it is the number 7. The number 7, thanks to this 7 here that doesn't let us place any 7 here, and this 7 here that doesn't let us place a 7 here, and this 7 here that doesn't let us place any 7 here, we can only place the 7 here. This is what we did in the first video. But what I want to show you, so that it is something a little newer for you, is that if you look carefully at the candidates that we have in this box that are here, you can realize that visually it is easy to identify that only in one of those cells is the number 7. That is, although it is necessary to do the scan, with the candidates written here, it is much easier to identify where there is only one possible option for a candidate. Here, it is clearly seen that the 7 has to go here because there is no other one that shares that number 7 as a possibility. That is called a hidden single. And now that we found this hidden single, let's see if we find, or if you can find, a hidden single in this box where the cursor is passing. Perfect. As you were able to realize, the number 8 only appears once as a candidate in this whole box, and it is here. So visually, we realize that the 8 cannot be in any other place. It can be by doing the analysis from the first video, which is seeing that this 8 doesn't let us place it here and that this 8 doesn't let us place it here, and only this space is left, or through the candidates that we drew from the pencil marks. Here we realize that an 8 goes there, and with this 8, well, we can probably keep solving more of the Sudoku until we manage to solve it. Let's see how far we get. Perfect. We had to use two techniques, naked singles and hidden singles, but we managed to solve this Sudoku. So I hope the idea of this video was understood, what we're doing with pencil marks, and the basic techniques go this far. In the next videos, we're going to see slightly more advanced techniques to use pencil marks in our favor and to keep finding numbers with logic in slightly more difficult scenarios. See you then in that video. See you later.